Hey everyone, and welcome to our top 5 midfielders video. Before we get started, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Still on that route to 500 subscribers before the start of the season. That would be great if we could reach that milestone. But we'll get started with what I think 5 good midfielders to look at going into the season would be. And the first one I'd say would be Matias Schulz, who had an amazing season last year with Frosinone. Was a player that made his way into a lot of squads of the people that finished near the top, was on penalties at Frosinone and scored some decent goals from open play and assists. Was generally part of goal contributions. Now, he last year was a player on loan from Juventus to Frosinone, and his loan expired in the offseason and went back to Juve. But it seems like he's already moved on with a transfer to Roma now. And a reason with this, so he's going to have better players to play around him. He's going to have more support. He may not start right away, but I feel like the way that he played last year, he will get into that starting lineup. Listed more expensive this year, not as much of a budget option, but he is more of a forward playing player. Roma's only attacker right now listed in Serie Fantasy is Tammy Abraham. So one, if Abraham's listed, obviously the person playing the most forward for Roma will be listed as a midfielder as things stand, unless they sign someone else. And he might just end up as part of either a more forward three, or I don't know if he'd ever get put like as to a at the top striker kind of thing. But I feel like he will be listed as a midfielder, having more of a forward role compared to other forwards as well on the Roma side. So this is why I've picked him as maybe like a differential player to look out for. The next one that I have in my first draft is Ederson at 5.4, still a very cheap option to allow money going elsewhere. And last year, he actually did have some big scores. He would put in some like injury time goals that didn't really mean anything to the context of the game, but matter a lot in fantasy because you do get that extra point for scoring as a midfielder. He also would get a lot of clean sheet points, and he gets consistent minutes in the team. He was plus with the tackle block assist points. He was normally good for like 5 or 6 points in 5 or 6 points from a 5.4 midfielder. I would take that, to be truly honest, as he could even be a bench player if you needed at that price point. But I'd say that he's a good person to have in that is relatively reliable and keeps costs of the team down, allowing you to maybe get another premium player somewhere else in the team. The next player is Nico Gonzalez, who I had in my starting team last year, and it was awesome having him on my team. He's one of my favorite players to have because he wasn't a super highly owned player. He was very cheap. He was 6.6 last year, has been boosted up to 7 this year, but I think that's a small increase based on his production. He basically plays every game in every competition. So despite um, like the amount of different competitions Fiorentina are in, Coppa Italia, Serie A, and Conference League, and those Conference League matches like happen every week. So they're basically on 3 games in 7 days all the time. But he tends to find his way into the starting squad almost all the time. And he is a major goal contributor on the team. He gets a lot of assists. I'd say that Nico Gonzalez, as so long as he's fit to start the season, would be one of my locks to start the season. It also seems like, now I'm not 100% sure, but it also seems like Fiorentina might not have Conference League matches before the Serie A season starts this year, but something to watch out for. Number 2, Karelia. He's been good the last 2 seasons. Not as good last year as the year before, but he is proven to be relatively consistent. He played very well for Georgia in the Euros on obviously what was going to be considered one of the smaller teams in the tournament. Took them to the knockout round, which was amazing for them. Even took the lead on Spain in that knockout round for a short period of time before giving that up and eventually losing. Now, I think he's going to be the focal point now for Napoli. Now that sounds like Osimhen's on his way out. It's just I wonder is with less maybe talent going forward, is that going to make it harder for Napoli to score goals? Or now that Osimhen's gone, are they going to be feeding Kvaratskhelia even more and giving him even more attacking opportunities? So that's what we kind of got to decide between. He's priced 1 million less than last year. So still expensive, but if he is a very big focal point, the ball's always going through him, and Napoli do a little better than they did last season, he could be someone definitely worth having in your team. And lastly, because this is mostly to start the season, and a lot of us that have been watching my channel for a while know how much I do like Dybala. But Roma have probably the best set of fixtures to start the season. He's obviously a premium midfielder. He's on penalties for the Roma side. We know the Dybala issue is always whether he's healthy or not. But if he does get injured at 11.6, you could move him on to any midfielder in the game. So I think the fact that he's normally part of the Roma goal contributions with the fixtures that there are, and he's easy to move on if need be, make Dybala a really good option to start the season with. He obviously, for whatever reason, doesn't get picked for the Argentina squad normally. He didn't play in Copa America, so he should be nice and rested and ready to go. So as long as there's no injury to start the season, I'd say Dybala is probably locked into my squad to start the season, which obviously if you have Dybala, you probably won't have Karelia. You're probably picking between the two to start with. Or and then I guess Leao can be part of that mix as well if you want to back him. But I found him to be kind of inconsistent the last couple of years where he can be streaky and get several attacking returns in a short couple of games back to back to back, and then all of a sudden go and not get anything for 7 matches. So I think Dybala with the fixtures right now is the way to go, and that's why I have him listed in the #1 spot. But those are our top 5 for the midfielders. Let me know what you think. Who am I missing? I know a lot of people in the videos have been putting these players that I haven't really heard of, but they have more experience with, maybe in their local areas or in other leagues that they follow more closely that I do that are now coming over to Serie A. So please keep doing that because it gives not only myself, but other people watching the videos, an idea of these players to look out for. Because to be truly honest, I'm not super excited about the midfielders. I think that is where the league can be won and lost. Those who know those depth midfielders that are going to give you more money to spend forward, but are also going to get you a lot of points as well. As we saw last year, people that jumped on Kopani, Sula, who was it, Ferguson, Goodmanson, these people that were getting on the midfielders at the lower price points earlier, and then everyone else kind of jumped on that train as well. But these are the people that are finishing near the top of the table. So if you do have those little hidden gems and you want to post them below, feel free. If not, hope you liked the video. Please don't forget to subscribe, and I will talk to you soon with the forwards. Take care.